Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. There's a couple of things I know and there's a couple of things I don't know. One of which is when that tree is going to come down. What I do know though is that currently in Warzone, the Bren is king, but it is a king that's about to be dethroned. In the coming days, we know for a fact we're going to see some weapon tuning go live. It could happen later today, it could happen tomorrow. I would assume it's probably going to happen with the mid-season update. We're going to have to wait and see, but the Bren overall is the best gun in the game. It doesn't matter what range you're fighting at, 10 meters, 30 meters, 130 meters, this thing is about as dominant as can be. I mean, its damage, its recoil, the fact that it has no damage drop off, it's utterly insane, which means that it's going to get nerfed here. It's going to be balanced out in some capacity. And today I wanted to give you guys a variety of options when it comes to what you want to be using next after the Bren gets nerfed. We've previously talked about one weapon in particular that I think might take its place, but as always, I like to give you guys as many options as possible. That way, if you don't like the feeling of one gun, you could always try the next one and see if that's maybe more geared towards your playstyle. So as we go over everything today, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, this is the best place to be for all things going on in COD. Between news, updates, loadouts, tips, I got you covered every single day. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. So the first weapon I want to talk about here is the STG. This is sort of just like the basic, well-balanced, well-rounded rifle that we got for Vanguard. We've sort of had one of these for every single main game in Warzone. Obviously, back during MW, it was sort of the M4A1. In Cold War, I'd say it was probably the XM4. It's not the strongest, heaviest hitting weapon in the world, but it is easy to use, it is very versatile, and it's consistent, and that's what matters at the end of the day. That's exactly what the STG is here. So super great for medium and long range fights, especially after you learn that recoil pattern, you got that down. It's going to be a very consistent and very well-rounded weapon in my opinion. As far as the setup goes here, it's pretty basic when it comes down to it. First up, we're going for the Mercury silencer. As always, better control, keeping us off the radar as well. In this case, the 760mm barrel is a fantastic choice. Not only are you getting better accuracy and control, but also you're slightly extending that damage range as well, which is super ideal. Obviously, nothing's really going to 100% mimic the Bren with the no damage drop off, but anytime you can increase that damage range, that's a huge bonus to have. For the optic, you can really go with whatever you're the most comfortable with. That also helps out with recoil control. The 3 to 6 times scope is a great optic, very T-pose like. The Slate 3.25 times is also pretty solid, as is the Slate 2.5 times. Some players like to use just the basic Slate reflector or even the 2.5 times G16 optic. Any of those work just fine. It's a very versatile weapon, so you really can take your pick there, whatever you feel like is the most comfortable to you. I'm also going for the weighted stock, better accuracy, better control, better aiming stability, all great pros to have for a ranged weapon. Between Carver and also the hand stop, you really can't go wrong here. Carver is going to be a little bit more vertical recoil control, whereas the hand stop is a little bit more horizontal based. Also is not going to hurt your ADS as much, so either of those will work just fine. I'm still going for the Kurz 60 round drums. I've tried running the 50 round mag here, which is that typical better control, better fire rate mag, but it just doesn't seem like it hits that hard, and you definitely notice the velocity decrease in this even with lengthened on there. So I just feel like the basic 60 works just fine here. Like I said, we're using lengthened. As always, we're going for polymer, getting that better control. Vital here is really the only perk worth running. These other ones really are not that great, so increased torso damage is pretty solid. Then finally, we're going for fully loaded as well. Another Bren alternative that I have been loving recently is the bar. Yeah, it fires slow. Yeah, it's got a little bit more visual recoil than some other weapons, but man, this thing is a beast. It is a powerhouse. It's going to erase enemies, and it's something I've been rocking a lot lately just to try and spice up my gameplay. The Bren is kind of boring to use constantly, so this has been my first initial go-to here, and I'm really liking it. It's a ton of fun to use. You got to get used to the velocity and how you got to lead your shots with that slower fire rate, but after you do that, after you learn the weapon a little bit, it is definitely worth it. This thing, like I said, it just deletes players. Again, we're going for the Mercury silencer, better control, keeping us off the radar. In this case, the 27-inch barrel is basically the same as the 760 over on the STG, better control and accuracy, and also better range. In this case, I'm going for the 2.5 times. I would like to use the 3 to 6 times, but the 3 to 6 times on the bar is currently broken and basically makes your game have like a rave in the middle of trying to, you know, fire shots. So not about that. Definitely have to avoid that for the time being. Going for the Chariot stock here, basically the same thing as the weighted over on the STG. Again, either hand stop or Carver works great here. I've been running a hand stop for a little bit more aggression. I guess you could say it's not going to slow down the ADS too much, and it's already kind of a slow weapon, so I like to try and avoid that. And hand stops working just fine for me. I'm going specifically for the 40 round BMG because they nerfed the recoil control on the 30 round, but not the 40 round. So you get some more control out of this. That's definitely ideal. Obviously, lengthened in polymer once more. Hard scope is a super ideal perk here. Better recoil and accuracy during sustained ADS, which is anytime you're shooting this weapon. You never want to hip fire with this thing. It's not a hip fire or a close range weapon, obviously. So that's the perfect perk for that. And once again, we've got fully loaded on there as well. The Cooper Carbine, while it did actually receive some nerfs recently, is still a great ranged weapon to be using. I don't think it's going to be nearly as dominant as the Bren was, but it is a solid alternative regardless, especially for some of those more medium range based fights. This thing is about as perfect as it gets. Again, just like the STG, it is very versatile and it works well in a lot of different ways. And I especially have been liking it as of lately to try and get off that Bren meta, you know, and shake things up a little bit here. Mercury silencer, as always, going for the Cooper custom barrel. Curiously enough, this actually increases the fire rate instead of extending the damage range, but you're still getting better control and better accuracy out of that, so that's pretty nice. Going for the 2.5 times once again. Either the Cooper 45 RS stock or the padded stock. Padded stocks can give you better recoil control during sustained fire. However, the Cooper 45 RS is better initial recoil, also a better ADS speed and better recoil recovery in case you're tap firing here and there. And the reason I've been using this recently is because I use tight grip for perk number 1, which is better control and better accuracy during sustained fires. So you basically are doing the same thing here as you would with a stock, but you also get a better initial firing recoil and a better ADS speed out of the 45 RS. So those really pair nicely together. Obviously fully loaded once more, polymer and lengthened on there as well. I'm still rocking the 9mm 60 round drums. Yeah, they hurt your velocity and your damage, but I just don't feel like there's a better option here. Yeah, 45 is damage increasing, but I mean, 25 definitely is not it. The 30-30 is definitely not it. That's a whole ESPN thing going on there. The 45 to me though just doesn't really feel like it's that great. I don't like the control on it. This is just a laser beam setup that while it doesn't hit hard, it still has a good TTK because it's just so easy to land shots. And again, I'm going for the hand stop on here as well. And then lastly, we got the Type 11. We actually had a whole dedicated video to this the other day talking about how if the Bren were to receive a nerf and they don't actually end up changing the way that these barrels work, the Type 11 is basically going to be the Bren 2.0 for one very specific reason. If we go ahead and we look at the attachments here, Mercury silencer again, and as always, the shrouded barrel though does the exact same thing that the Royal barrel does for the Bren and takes off that damage drop off. Damage does not diminish over range. So the Type 11 has a worse TTK than the Bren, but because it doesn't drop off over range, the TTK surpasses that of the Bar, the STG, the Cooper, because it's not going to have that same drop off that those other weapons would. So up close, it might not compete as much, but over range, it's still going to be incredibly competitive, even though it doesn't have like the super hard hitting properties that the Bren might have now. It still works very, very well. So we got that on there. The 3 to 6 times scope yet again, or whatever other one you enjoy using that has that recoil control property. The Type 33 stock here, better control, accuracy, recoil, recovery, all the good stuff there. Hand stop yet again, especially on this gun, it has a lot of left to right bounce. I tried Carver on it before, was not really a big fan of it. Hand stop worked really, really well for me. I'm going for the 90 round drum here. No, fire rate increasing, ADS increasing mag here. Didn't like how this felt. The gun already is not as strong as the Bren was, or Bren is now, and reducing that damage, reducing that velocity didn't really feel good to me. Keeping 90 on there allowed this thing to still fry, and honestly I don't feel like the control is too bad as it is now with all the attachments we got on here. Lengthened in polymer once more. Brace for the initial firing recoil. I noticed specifically when using the 90 round mags, your initial recoil does jump up a little bit, so that completely counters that, and then the remainder of the time it's very easy to control. And surprise, surprise, we've got fully loaded on there once more. So those 4 weapons there, the STG, the Bar, the Cooper Carbine, and the Type 11 are the ones that I really have my eyes on for when this Bren nerf ends up happening. These are the ones that I feel like are really going to take over that new long range meta. With all that said, that is going to wrap things up for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by dropping a like on it. It would be seriously appreciated. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, every single day I'm always covering the latest things going on in COD, news, updates, loadouts, tips. I got it all right here. So feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. And I will catch you guys later. Peace out.